talking about the ins and outs of the WWE, how we can fix it, how we can get better, and what's going on right now. So please enjoy.
Let's just get right into it now on this super raw. And you may be thinking, as Wes Bradshaw joins us here from Parts Unknown, Wes, if those of you who follow him on Twitter know at Wes Bradshaw 21, someone wasn't very happy with the latest pay-per-view Survivor Series that the WWE put on, and wasn't altogether that thrilled either with the WWE Raw edition of Monday Night that came after it. It was a little better, but not great. So Wes, why don't you tell the people at home, because we didn't really get into it 2 weeks ago, why don't you tell the people what chuffed you so much about this pay-per-view?
Ed. WWE has a long, proud history. Okay, proud might be an overstatement, but anyway. Long history. The thing about wrestling, and it's the way it's always been, there are highs and there are lows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the high periods everyone remembers. You know, rock and wrestling back in the mid-'80s when Hulk Hogan truly may have been the most famous man in the world.
Maybe, yeah.
85, 86, 87. Hulkamania, the Hulkster was running wild. WWE was everywhere, you know. It crossed over on MTV. It was in everybody's houses. I mean, it came on every couple of months. They did Saturday night's main event on, like, for real NBC.
Yeah.
NBCSN, which did not exist in the mid-'80s. You know, it wasn't on some backwoods channel. It was, I mean, we're talking NBC, right?
Right.
And now it obviously is not in that heyday. It's not where we were during the Attitude Era,
Mm-hmm.
which was, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. You know, The Rock, who's gone on to be a complete megastar. We understand that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those are kind of the two golden eras of the WWE, WWF, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
We're at a point right now where John Cena is the biggest star in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Has been for, I'll probably give him about 7 years now. Cena's been the main star. Cena's been on the scene over a decade now. And what has happened is, you know, Vince McMahon, who I personally, whatever you may think of him, Vince McMahon is a marketing genius.
He's done well.
I mean, once again, you know, you take that era in the 80s, that era in the late 90s, early 2000s, the man made a shit ton of money, and both times he evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The first time he evolved out of the territories. Second time he evolved from, you know, basically, as we got into the late 90s, you know, TV was getting a little edgier.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things they did then today wouldn't quite raise the number of eyebrows, but, you know, things they did. I cannot tell you the exact date, but sometime in the last 5 or 6 years, the WWE became a publicly traded company.
Mm-hmm.
When they became a publicly traded company, suddenly it was no longer just Vince McMahon and maybe his daughter and his son calling all the shots. Now suddenly you have a board, you have stockholders you have to answer to. So everything, every number matters now, right?
Mm-hmm.
John Cena kind of follows along in this line from Hulk Hogan to The Rock to now John Cena. Before Hogan, it was a guy named Bruno Sammartino.
Mm-hmm.
They were the mega stars of their generation. They brought in a shit ton of money Hogan and The Rock moved the meter. John Cena moves the meter. They move ratings. And what I believe has happened is that Vince McMahon has gotten to a point where the only thing he cares about is that television rating.
Yeah.
And keeping those stockholders happy. We've kind of gotten to that point. And it has been to the detriment of the actual product that's put on the screen. In the last 4 or 5 years, we've seen the last generation of wrestlers. We've kind of seen those guys starting to phase out. Now, there are guys you still see on TV. Obviously, John Cena, Randy Orton, The Big Show, Mark Henry, Batista.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Batista. Everybody knows Batista now because of what was the show? What was the movie?
Guardians of the Galaxy and
then also
Spectre. Yep.
Yeah, so everybody knows who Batista is. Well, these were the guys who had carried the water for a long time, and they're starting to move out. Well, Ed, when those guys start moving out, what do you do? It's just like Major League Baseball. It's like the NFL. It's like the NBA. You have to replenish. You have to bring in new stars. You have to create new stars. WWE, though, has hit a rut where Vince McMahon was so hell-bent on keeping that rating and keeping the TV deals that he has ridden John Cena too long.
Yeah.
And he's basically made the entire thing about John Cena. Well, now, John Cena, I don't want to make this like I'm just hating on John Cena, because I'm not. I like John Cena. John Cena is a fantastic human being who does so many things for Make-A-Wish, so many things for Susan G. Komen. He is a fantastic ambassador for the WWE. The problem with John Cena is his character has become extremely stale over the years. See, Ed, one big thing about your character is you were supposed to always evolve, so you stay relevant to everyone, so you stay fresh. Well, the thing is, the John Cena character has not evolved now in about 6 or 7 years because, hell, Vince McMahon's making so much money on him. Why does he want him to change at all? Basically, every kid under 10 years old loves John Cena.
Yeah.
You know who else loves John Cena? My wife loves John Cena.
I wonder why.
Well, and here's the thing. My wife glances up every now and then and watches it.
Yeah.
So, and she sees John Cena. She sees the smile, the muscles, good-looking guy, great with kids, is on the Total Divas. And so my wife loves John Cena. You know who doesn't like John Cena? Guys. Guys who watch wrestling.
Yeah.
But due to this, we've been force-fed so much John Cena now over the years that everyone's tired of John Cena.
Yeah.
We want the fresh blood. Not that you can't keep Cena in, because Ed, you've heard me on our So Raw that we do. Man, when he was the U.S. champ, he was having some incredible matches. It's not that John Cena can't be good for the product, but the product just does not need to completely revolve around John Cena.
Right. No, I agree.
Okay. So here we are now, late 2015, Survivor Series coming up. Well, Ed, now for the first time in a long while, John Cena's actually taken some time off. Okay. Over the last year, Cena has transitioned out of the world title picture, which has been good. He's still been prominent, but he's transferred out of the world title picture. It's been some of the newer guys getting into it. And of course, Ed, for about the last 6 months, a guy who's my favorite wrestler in the world right now, Seth Rollins, has been the world champion. Okay. Well, now here's the problem. Here's one of the problems. Vince McMahon once again sees John Cena as his cash cow. Well, John Cena is nearly 40 years old now.
Oh God, is he really?
He's close. He's close.
Oh wow.
He's late 30s. Late 30s. I mean, like I said, the guy's been around for more than a decade now.
Wow.
Yeah, so late 30s. And John Cena he's taken the beatings over the years. You know, his body feels he's in great shape. But, you know, John Cena's not going to be one of those guys. He's not going to be Terry Funk who's wrestling when he's 70 years old. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not going to be one of those grizzled old veterans who hangs on forever because, you know, one thing about John Cena, he has made a ton of money over the years. He doesn't have to wrestle for his supper when he's in his 40s and 50s. He's not going to be traveling. You know, John Cena's not going to be wrestling in high school gyms, you know, to make a payday. You know, John Cena's Mr. WWE. When he decides to stop wrestling, John Cena is going to move right into an executive job somewhere at WWE. He's going to be working in the company because he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
You know, Cena's no dummy. He's not just some musclehead and meathead. He's an intelligent man. He's got a college education. He's going to be fine, okay? But Vince McMahon, seeing that the cash cow was maybe suddenly, you know, starting to transition away a little bit, well, man, now we need to make a new cash cow. Because, you know, this has worked out well for me, Vince McMahon. So, about 3 years ago at this time, Ed, call it 2 years ago, I think it was 2013, at the Survivor Series, a little team debuts called The Shield.
I believe we've heard of them.
I think we have, because you know what a massive Shield mark. Actually, Shield might have been 2012. Either way, I almost want to say it was 2012. It's been about 3 years now. The Shield debut. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns. Together, they formed an absolutely impenetrable team. They were the best faction in WWE. Over time, now they started off as heels. Over time, Ed, they started to turn face, and they became one of the biggest draws in WWE at that time. Out of the three guys on the Shield, Seth Rollins probably had the best wrestling pedigree. He had been a superstar on the independent scene before coming to WWE, was the very first NXT champion. As Tyler Black on the independents, he was a stud in Ring of Honor and the other major independent scenes. Dean Ambrose had come through the independents, had taken a different route. He was more known as the hardcore guy. Mm-hmm. But, you know, once again, he had come up through wrestling as well. And then you had Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, collegiately, college All-American defensive tackle at Georgia Tech.
I saw him play football, actually.
Cousin of The Rock.
Yes.
Comes from this great family of Samoans that have been in wrestling now for 50 years. Comes from that lineage, and that is a great bloodline to come from. They're athletic, you know, they look good usually. You know, they've got what it takes. And hey, The Rock came out of there. And that's a big thing. The Rock came out of there. Mm-hmm. Okay, remember, The Rock is one of those 4 or 5 guys who biggest stars of all time. So here's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has the look. Okay? Reigns has the look. He's a very good looking guy. He's about 6'3". Oh, Reigns probably weighs about 265, 270. You know, got the long dark hair, you know, chiseled body, you know, great, gorgeous jawline. I mean, my wife swoons when she sees Roman Reigns. She loves John Cena. She swoons when she sees Roman Reigns. Got the long, dark hair. And I think, you know, suddenly when the Shield starts getting hot, Roman Reigns was kind of the quiet badass of the Shield. Mm-hmm. Because if you've heard Roman Reigns talk, he's not the greatest talker on the world. Where Dean Ambrose was fantastic on the microphone, and Seth Rollins was very good and has turned into being fantastic on the microphone now. Reigns kind of stayed back. He was the quiet one. He was the one who did all the powerhouse stuff.